If you're watching this video, it's probably something that you've been looking for a very long time. You're either somebody that has been asking this question, you're either somebody that's lost and has been struggling for a very long time with maybe certain different types of addictions, looking for answers in books or people, or maybe even, I would say, the wrong areas. Or you're the third type of person that, you're happy in life, but you're kind of directionless here. And what I'm going to give you here is going to be the secret that has helped me travel the world to over 45 plus countries, okay, make millions of dollars, be able to experience things that I think most people would never be able to experience in lifetimes, and do this at a very, very young age, and be a mentor to some people. Now, this is going to be a very deep, I would say, video, and we're going to break down exactly how to define your purpose. Okay, how purpose is also how I defined it and how it changed my life. And then we're going to give you a step-by-step process for you to change your purpose. So let's break it down. When it comes to defining your purpose, it might mean something big or small for everybody. It really just depends on how you look at it and how you define it. It might be just helping other people, and you could do that as a lawyer. You could do that, with cases, as a doctor. You could do that in certain business industries. It might be maybe building towards innovating for the world in one sort of way. It might just be even something simple like being the best mother in the world, or father, or coach. Whatever it could be, I want to help you find it today, because when I was able to find my purpose, it shifted my life. Now, I want you to have depth of vision, and I want you to start thinking on this, video, what you could do if you wouldn't be able to fail. Okay, I want you to eliminate all negativity from the external world, all limiting beliefs, and I want you to think as your 5-year-old self. Okay, because deep down somewhere, there's that 5-year-old version of you that's looking at this video that has still been asking this existential question, right? And when you're on here, guys, I want you to realize that I was the same way. I was lost at the time when I was asking these questions. It was because I wasn't doing well financially. I was in a very weird state where I was addicted to drugs. I was also, I would say, doing really bad in school, because I was in college, or going to college at the time. I was 18 years old, and I was forced to find a direction in my life. And in my entire life, I had been told by, I come from an immigrant background where my family had put a lot of pressure on me. And I was told to do things I didn't want to do. And a lot of this pressure, my whole life, I was always told I needed to do something big. I always had this external pressure on me. And it really, really, messed me up inside, I would say. And maybe you're coming from a similar background where you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. And, I did this process that I'd actually found through Bob Proctor and a couple other thought leaders. And I was able to figure out what it was. And at the end of it, at a core, I realized that I was here to help other people. And it was to shift the way people think and change their life. Because if I could shift the way they think, change their whole life. And as soon as I was clear on that purpose, a similar coaching opportunity came into my life where I was able to do that. And because of that, it gave me the ability to mentor thousands of people, travel the world, and most importantly, have more freedom than I think I could ever have. Now, it all stemmed from me asking that existential question: what is my purpose? And if you're on the call today, or if you're here tuning into this video, realize that majority of the world doesn't have it figured out. Okay? And you have to think different, because the majority of the world, there's a study that was done, hates what they do Monday morning. Okay. 80% of the world doesn't love what they do. They don't feel fulfilled. Okay. 80% of the world lives paycheck to paycheck. On Monday morning, the heart rate of the average person goes up times 6x. Okay. Or the chances of them getting a heart attack increases by, over 6x. So if you're here, you have to realize that what I'm telling you right now, you might not even be ready or prepared for. But if you are, okay, it'll be one of the greatest revelations of your life. And if you're here, you've probably been looking for this answer for a very long time. And more importantly, okay, you will no longer need validation from the external world, because you'll find out who you are, okay, exactly who you're supposed to be, why you're here, and what you're supposed to do. Okay, so let's get straight into it. The first phase is isolation. And the reason you need to isolate yourself, because there's 3 phases to finding your purpose, is because the external world has thrown so much stimulation to you. They do it to you in ideas, advertising, even beliefs. You are being overly stimulated in this world. The attention of a goldfish now is what this next generation has when it comes to their ability to focus. Whereas in the 80s, the average person could focus for 20 minutes. The average person now can only focus for about 4 or 5 seconds. So you need to isolate yourself in order to be able to have more control and listen to that inner voice inside of you and get connected to God. Okay. And now this is deep. So I want you to realize that you need to isolate yourself. Where can you isolate yourself? You could either do it in a empty room with no outside stimulation, no music, no noise, no nothing, or you can do it in nature. My favorite place to do it is by a water, like near a lake or an ocean, in nature, full-blown isolation. Okay, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring a notebook with you and a pen. Why? Because you're gonna jot down certain things on that notebook, and you're gonna tap into, I would say, this infinite power. Okay. Now, this is where phase 2 gets into play. So in phase 1, you're going to sit by yourself with your own thoughts for 15 minutes. Okay. Now, you might ask, and before I get into phase 2, I'm going to give you a warning. I want you to sit in your thoughts, and your brain is going to go everywhere. It's first going to go into certain, I would say, surface level thoughts like, why am I here? Oh, I feel tired today. Man, I have to go to that meeting later today. I have to call that boy or girl later today, or text this person. I have to go to work. These are surface level bullshit questions. Okay. The reason you're waiting 15 to 20 minutes is because you're trying to get rid of, these surface level questions, so your mind can finally quiet itself and relax in order to ask deeper level questions. Because there's so much external forces pulling you with different ideas and beliefs. And a lot of you haven't even gotten to meet the real you, and you even have your own real thoughts, because you're always distracted by music, movies, people, or activities. So after 15 to 20 minutes, you should enter phase B, which I like to call is the presence and gratitude phase. So this is when your mind starts to quiet itself down, and you start to notice tiny details of the world around you. So the tiny details of the world, like the beauty in the water, the beauty in, you become present, the beauty in the trees. You start to see nature for how beautiful it really is. You start paying attention to the detail of the world around you that you might have never noticed before. This is now where you're entering a state of full-blown presence. Eckhart Tolle actually talks about this here. It's a good book, The Power of Now. But in that phase, you now have tapped into a phase where only 5% of people live in, because 95% of the world is living in the future, which is anxiety, or in the past, which most live in depression. I'm going to tell you something. When you can tap into God or tap into the infinite, you do it by living in the now, right? Because nothing can be manifested or created in the past or in the future because it doesn't exist, only in the now. This is your full-blown state of being, not your state of overstimulation. At that point in time, okay, what you're going to do is, as you have written that question, what is my purpose, on your sheet of paper, on your journal, what is my purpose? You're going to start writing things that you're grateful for. I want you to put yourself in a phase of just gratitude and gratitude. And you'll start to come up with even the smallest things, and then the larger things, the larger existential questions, which is what we're trying to answer here, right? What is your purpose, right? Those existential questions, okay? And then I want you to find out why each one matters to you and who does it serve, with those existential questions, what you're grateful for. And I want you to do this, you should do 100 times. I did it about 100 times. It took me a while to isolate my mind and to become fully present for 30 minutes. But then I started writing things I was grateful for, and I was just so happy. I put myself in a state of ultimate gratitude, which is a magnifier, right? And then from there, you're going to be now in a state of presence where you're also able to tap into your creative faculties. But most importantly, you're going to be able to start to listen to your own inner self. And then you're going to start asking the question, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? What is my purpose? Start with certain things that you like and you're grateful for that are small, but there should be 3 or 4 things that I would say pull you more than normal. Out of those 3 or 4 things, choose, knock them down into 2 or 1. Then ask yourself the reason, okay, why? And what is it that drives me or pulls me towards this thing? And then it'll tell you who you're supposed to become eventually. For me, I found out slowly it was, okay, well, I really like doing this. I really like developing myself. Why do I like developing myself? And then I was in a coaching business or I was in a network marketing business that had me have to be a mentee to then eventually be a mentor. And I told myself it's because eventually I want to be a mentor. I want to help people. I'm like, why do I want to help people? And then it became this existential deep thing where I found out I wanted to change people's lives. I genuinely wanted to help people, and that drove me. And because of that, that intention, that created miracles for my life. It changed everything about my world. And honestly, there's certain things that I could just talk about here, but I can't even break it down. And after I was able to find it, it changed my whole life. And I'm here to tell you this. Once you do find it, okay, everything will change for you, okay? Once you get the deeper level questions answered, okay, you'll find it. For me, it was changing people's lives. And that brought me an immense amount of success and just happiness, because I realized what I'm here, why I'm here, and who I'm supposed to become. Eventually, guys, how you know this works, or how you know it worked for you, is you go through this for as long as you need to, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It all depends on how overly stimulated you are. Okay, but how you know it ended up working was you find that one line or that one thing and you realize that's what you're supposed to do. And it should hit you so hard where you're bawling in tears. because you've been looking for this one thing your entire life, and you've been through, I would say, struggle, or you've been looking at it through, like, let's say, people, things, and places to try to fulfill you. But this one thing was the reason you're here, and it was inside of you the entire time. This answer, that's why you should be bawling in tears. But after, it'll bring you existential happiness and fulfillment. And this is what Bob says is the real key to be able to find this here. So I recommend you doing this a couple times and doing it as long as you need to. Put your phone on do not disturb, or don't even bring your phone, and just focus on finding the answer, because it's the best thing that will ever happen to you in your life. I like this one quote from a book called The Power of Now that Eckhart Tolle actually wrote. And the quote says, "You find God the moment you stop seeking him." And it stumps a lot of people. But the way that I've defined it was that you find God the moment you stop seeking him, because he was already there. You know, God is rarely silent. This creative faculty, this infinite force that you are that is unexplainable, has always been there. You just haven't been able to quiet the voice in your head enough to listen, or quiet the world around you to listen to the answers. So the answers are inside of you. Find your purpose, and then from there you can then focus on what your mission is. And if you focus on the mission, you'll be able to, I would say, live a life of fulfillment and live a life like a 1%er. Okay? I'm giving you everything that I learned from Bob Proctor onto you. So hopefully you'll be able to go out there, do this, find your purpose, and share it with the world, and live a life of fulfillment. Peace.